Alright guys, Elden Ring Nightreign. Over the weekend, we had got a bunch of brand new information regarding the upcoming launch of Elden Ring Nightreign. There was recently a playtest at PAX East that gave a lot of players the opportunity to jump in and see what Nightreign has to offer. And unlike the network test, there were quite a few new reveals, gameplay details, lore information, and even some insights into characters that's yet to be fully revealed. We're going to be diving deep into that all in this video. Before we get started though, if you are interested in staying up to date on all things Elden Ring Nightreign, I'll be sure to keep you covered on all things as we get close to May the 30th. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, show your support, and let's dive in. So as I said earlier, Elden Ring Nightreign was showcased at PAX East. If you're not familiar with this is a yearly event where developers, gaming fans, and just industry folks come together to share details about some upcoming titles. And as expected, Bandai Namco had a booth that allowed a number of people to jump in and play Elden Ring Nightreign. Now, while this definitely wasn't a full version of the game, it definitely looked like there were a lot of players who were able to actually test significantly more than what we got to see in the playtest a couple of months back. Now, according to the people who actually got to play the new updated version, you were able to fight Gladys and Libra, Creature of the Night, but they weren't allowed to actually try any of the other characters, most notably, and I think one of the characters a lot of people really want to be invested in is Executioner, was not anywhere in there. There was no mention of him, wasn't able to actually see what he has to offer. From what we've seen though, I believe it was Ouroboros who was kind of hosting. Everyone who tried the updated build was able to completely destroy Gladys, so he didn't really have any form of competition and he wasn't a challenge at all. And Libra, on the other hand, the Creature of the Night, was a completely different story. About 20% of the players who actually was able to play the fight actually won. But it does seem like Libra is going to be quite a bit more difficult than what we've seen of Gladys. The devs did say that they were going to be buffing this boss as well, so that it'd be a little bit more in line whenever it comes out on the 30th. Now, if you are a fan of like challenging gameplay, that's obviously going to be something really big for you. So yeah, we'll have to see how that's implemented. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. One thing that really did stand out aside from the difficulty was the variety though. One of the biggest concerns from the playtest that we had a couple of months back was the replayability of Nightreign, and if I'm being completely honest, that's pretty valid, especially with this game being a much more roguelike approach. Replayability is going to be one of the major talking points. I'm sure in the next coming weeks we're going to be seeing that a lot of. I've seen it already a ton of, so replayability is going to be something that's going to be talked about. But based on what we saw at PAX East, people have confirmed that the game does have some replayability, and the most notable thing was they felt like it wasn't a lot of the same runs. Whenever they did new runs, every run felt a little bit different, and though you were dropping in the same exact map, there was a lot of variety in the run that you did, and this is again one of the big talking points when it comes to replayability of Nightreign. Now, on a final note, when it does come to the bosses themselves, we did get some additional information from the game director Jinya Izaki. This wasn't actually at PAX East, this was a couple of days ago from the PlayStation interview. The question that was at hand was in regards to how the bosses perform. Obviously, when you're jumping into a game like this that doesn't have a ton of replayability, the bosses being devalued from just like knowing how they perform already, what they do, their weaknesses, things like that. You know, that's going to be something that the team is going to have to overcome so that it continues to be challenging. And he said this: yes, we're pursuing that approach so that the same strategies won't always work when fighting the bosses. Your initial strategy may be effective for a while, but the bosses will gradually evolve and your tactics will no longer be viable, forcing you to rethink your approach. What this is just saying is the bosses are not going to be one-dimensional. They're going to evolve as you continue to play the game, and in my opinion that's actually pretty positive. But with that in mind, I'm more of a show me not tell me kind of player, because you can always just say, hey, yeah, our bosses are going to be good, they're going to evolve, you're going to not devalue them, you're not going to just beat them up. But obviously the masses haven't actually played it, so I'm going to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to this, so we're going to see. But for those of you who are concerned about the game not having as much replayability, especially with the bosses being much easier after you learn them, it does seem as though the game director is saying they're going to be something implemented to make the bosses a little bit more different. You can't just steamroll them like I feel it's going to end up happening. He also went to add on this: also in the final version of the game, you'll be able to determine the weakness of each bosses before heading out. So if poison is effective against an upcoming boss, you may proactively search for and loot items that inflict poison more often in that run. Taking advantage of their susceptibility will give you an edge in the fights. We intentionally designed the game so that you'll need to adapt and evolve your strategy along with the changes that happen in the game. So again, they're kind of doubling down on the possibility of bosses like evolving and changing and doing different things. Again, I want to see it in action because again, one of the biggest talking points is going to be the replayability, and we're going to hopefully see that in action whenever the game launches on the 30th. A lot of people are calling Elden Ring Nightreign a cheap spin-off cash grab, but so far it seems like the team is actually putting a lot of effort into it, which kind of actually brings me to my next thing, which is going to be about the lore. Now in the past, the devs did say that Nightreign isn't going to be as lore heavy as we've seen in other Elden Ring titles, or I mean there's only been one Elden Ring title, but you know what I mean, it's not going to be as lore heavy as, you know, we come to expect from just general FromSoft games. But we did see some new information when it comes to a video from IGN, because they talked about Remembrances and Lore system in the game. From the IGN video, it looks like these remembrances essentially are side content. They will be accessible from the roundtable hold, and there will going to be a journal that's going to be present somewhere in it. Obviously I haven't really seen it. You're going to be able to interact with this, and it's going to give you some information on what you need to like basically know. And I'm just going to do a very quick snippet of what we saw in there, and it read something like this. Chapter 4, Instruction from the Fellowship to the Lord Iron Eye. Iron Eye, beloved child of the Fellowship, I believe you are familiar with the monster. It's clear now that his guardian was slain long ago. It seemed to have happened when the boarding house was destroyed in the Duskin Valley. There's a strong likelihood that the traitor to the Fellowship is indeed the monster. Take every precaution. He was raised by the Fellowship to be the centipedal of Sion, ever your custodian. So obviously from small snippet, we can tell there's definitely some lore in play, and it'll be interesting to see how it ties into each of the individual character. If you're not familiar, every character in Nightreign will have their own individual mission during their playthrough. They show some of this of Iron Eyes doing a side quest where you end up fighting an enemy called the Night Huntsman, and Raider on the other hand had his own individual unique mission that involved facing a mini boss in a like 1v1 battle in the Coliseum. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be a lot of lore tied to specific types of gameplay. You'll need to piece it together by playing through each of the individual characters. I'm a big fan of this. I don't like when games just dump the lore on you. I prefer this more hands-on approach, and so far it looks pretty solid. Now to wrap this video up, I want to do my due diligence as a creator and make sure information is accurate. Lately there has been a lot of misinformation around like the whole map and the mapping system. From what I can tell and based off of other trusted creators, specifically Dom's Roundtable, it looks like there's going to be a singular map, not multiple maps. A lot of the confusion may be coming from the fact that the map will evolve over time. So as events happen in the world, the map may change, but as far as we know right now at launch, there's only going to be one map. Obviously the game is going to launch with a lot of like, it's going to have a lot of concerns, right? You know, it's not going to be a traditional Elden Ring game, and we don't want any more disappointments coming from the players. So players expecting multiple maps, there won't be multiple maps. Don't want you to get disappointed. There's going to be one map, but it's ever changing, so just keep that in mind. That's what's going to be happening in Nightreign. With that said, that's all the information that I have for you today. We're definitely going to be doing more bits and pieces as we get more footage and updates coming out of PAX East, and as we ramp up for launch. That's going to be about 2 weeks from this video. I'll make sure to keep you guys up to date, so make sure you follow the channel so you don't miss out on anything like that. Really appreciate you guys checking out my Elden Ring Nightreign video. Drop a like if you found it helpful. It helps support the channel immensely. And just like that, I'll see you guys in the next video very soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.